Welcome to the special episode of Trout Pod, the Western New York Trout Unlimited podcast. I'm Jim Jowsey, and normally we're trying to get a new episode out each month, and I know we just released a new episode last week, but we've got something really special going on, and let's just say it's appropriate to get this one out ASAP. We're real big here on conservation, education, and community through fly fishing, and when something comes along that ticks all three of those boxes, it's pretty great, and when there's beer involved, well, that's just something that begs for attention. What's currently begging for attention is an incredible collaboration between Thin Man Brewery, Lakes, Rivers, and Streams, and TU Northeast. It's a very tasty collaboration, Riverbank Lager, produced by Thin Man Brewery, designed by Lakes, Rivers, and Streams, and benefiting TU Northeast that by the time you hear this will already be in local Western New York stores, with an official release party on Saturday, April 18th. I had the opportunity to speak to Chris Groves from Thin Man Brewery and our own Kyle Glenn from TU Northeast and got the scoop on the whole project from inception to placement in your favorite beer store. We also talked fishing and a little bit of local music, but that might have been after I stopped recording. See you on the other side. All right, so I am here with Chris Groves from Thin Man Brewery and Kyle Glenn from TU Northeast, and we're talking about a pretty interesting, a pretty great, as I put on Instagram, awesome project that I know has been in the works for a while, and I'm just happy that it's finally coming to fruition, in a couple of weeks. So. Why don't we, just kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit here. Let's talk about the project a little bit, who came up with the idea, how it got started, everybody involved and what have you.
Yeah. So Chris here. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks Jim for having us on. Thanks Kyle for doing what you do. But I guess this project started, late last fall, I think. Feels like it. I got a DM on Instagram, of all places, from Rob. Him and I had followed each other on Instagram before. I've watched his stuff for years, and I was like, oh, why is this? Wait a second. Why is this guy sending a message to me? And he put in a very short message saying, "Hey, I have been talking with good friend Kyle from TU Northeast about a way we can potentially raise money for TU, and dreamed of having a brewery do a beer or some sort of thing happen." So this is kind of serendipitous, where for a bunch of years I had seen him kind of Rob, that is, his brown trout and brown ale t-shirt.
Okay.
So Community Beer Works, which is the parent company to Thin Man. We are also Community Beer Works. We're also Smoldered Society Beer Company, and we also all are Chandler Street breweries. So we're all four companies in one big space.
Okay.
But Community Beer Works makes a beer called the Whale, and it is an exceptional brown ale. And I'm like, oh my God, if Rob could one day somehow do a label for us. This had been a dream of mine for years. So it's just kind of like this world of things colliding that I had never mentioned it to him. And then he just reaches out to me on one afternoon late last fall. And Kyle, tell me if I'm lying in any of that.
No, you hit a lot of the nails right on the head. Apologies if my voice is a little graggly. I'm just getting over a cold or a sinus infection or something. I don't know. But yeah, it was definitely in the works, at least in Rob and I's head, for like 2 years, just thinking we're like, well, wouldn't this be a great like fundraising opportunity, or like how could we get this off the ground? Who do we know? And full disclosure, I didn't know Rob was an artist for the first 2 years of meeting him. Like, he's so humble as a person. We
Yeah.
were just fishing together, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, yeah, I have this small little thing I do on the side if you want to check it out." And I'm like, "How are you hiding this from me for 2 years straight?" Because I've been
Oh, he
fishing
was
with
he
him
was hiding
for.
it from you. I've probably got a half a dozen of his shirts.
Yeah,
I
right.
know I felt like really behind the eight ball because I seen his work, but I did not put the two pieces together that like he was the main artist behind it. And
Mhm.
it was like this full circle moment on the creek one day because I've known him for 6 or 8 years now. So it yeah, once we kind of got that off the ground, I've done a little bit of work with him here and there, but mainly we just fish together. And yeah, we as Chris said, like we were just thinking of any way that we could have a bigger like community impact. And then we stumbled on the name Community Beer Works, and we're like, wow, that'd be really cool if someone from there actually like really cared about water. If they fished, that would be a bonus. We don't have to explain the whole spiel about cold clean water. And then Rob's like, well, actually, I have a acquaintance from Thin Man, and then he mentioned Chris, and turns out I've been following Chris on social media for 2 years, not knowing who he was either. Uh, and I was like, man, he takes some pretty cool pictures, but until you meet someone in person, lock everything together. So yeah, last fall, it was kind of this serendipitous moment where, we both came in with like our vision for what it would be, and there was so much overlap in it. It seemed like a no-brainer, for all the conservation benefits and values from it. And then also, from a community interaction standpoint with Chris and the brewery and the new tap room, it's like we get a lot of eyes on
Mhm.
what conservation is turning into in our region. Sorry, that was long-winded.
No, no,
No,
that's
good,
awesome.
good.
I mean, that's one thing that I won't say we struggle with, but one thing that we're concerned about is coming up with, a lot of these new ideas. 10, 15 years ago, it would have been, okay, well, let's do a banquet. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Mhm.
Having this wonderful dynamic, fundraising idea wouldn't have even have come into our minds 10 years ago.
Right.
So, and I think that says a lot for, I don't know, the next generation of fly anglers. Speaking of which, Chris, Kyle, we know a ton about you. We've spoken before. I want to find out a little bit about Chris. Just a little bit of background on you. Your experience fly fishing.
Sure.
Your experience as can I call you? Are you a brewmaster or
I'm not.
brewer? Okay, well, as a brewer, just a little bit of information about you.
Yeah, well, thanks for asking. I generally keep myself pretty tight and buttoned up and quiet, but in this instance, Jim, for you, it's I'll let it all loose.
Nice.
No, I've been fishing my entire life. I've grown up around water. Um, Oddly enough, I got a gift one year. I was 12 years old. My younger brother, best dude in my life, we got a an aluminum boat for Christmas. I think my dad and uncle scrounged up some cash and maybe bought it for $150 with the trailer, and they're like, "Here's a boat." So we were entrusted with watercraft from a very young age. We grew up um, essentially on a beach in Crystal Beach in Canada. Um, so we were always out on the water. We were always fishing. And I grew up spin fishing like most people around here, fishing for bass, for pike. We would do a family trip up to Georgian Bay every year where we do a lot of pike fishing. Um, we had being on Lake Erie, we had done a lot of walleye fishing. Um, and it really, for me, just started in honestly, COVID shutdown. I was looking for a way to get out, do something individually. I think a lot of folks kind of took that measure. I think a huge boom in fly fishing happened around then. I have to imagine. But I was like, this is something I can go out, be by myself, do something out in the wilderness, in beautiful places. And if I catch a fish, cool. If not, I'm still having a great time. Like I'm still out in an amazing area. Western New York, New York in general is just an incredibly beautiful state to be in. So that's where it started. And I got myself a Reddington Path 5 weight. Um, I still have it. It's a backup rod now. But I dove like into the deep end very quickly. And I think when I get into something, I really, really get into it. And that's I don't know how I don't know any other way to do anything like like this. And the world of fly fishing itself is incredibly deep and nuanced. And I want to know everything about it. I want to know all the styles. I want to learn how to tie. I just started tying this past winter, which is another whole realm of the sport that it's like it's amazing. So
You know, it doesn't
um,
save you any money, right?
no, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. But I think it draws you closer to the sport. So when you are able to actually catch a fish on something that you tied yourself, I think that's like a literal connection to the sport that is kind of unlike anything else. Like you're not making your own baseballs, you're not making your own footballs or basketballs. Like the tool for your sport, the thing that actually physically connects you to what you're doing. I think tying is that. But I'm here now, and I am. Last year, was on the water 45 days. We're here on March 30th. I've been out 8 times, and I hope to eclipse that this year. I'm going to Tennessee in 2 days to fish the Smokies through Easter. I'm excited about that. So when I really said I go whole hog, I really do, and I travel for it. It is the main source of travel for me now at all. I am traveling and going on vacation for fishing. Um, Cut over to the what I do professionally. You asked if I was a brewmaster. No, I'm not a brewmaster. I'm an old home brewer who gave up home brewing about a dozen years ago because um, it's I think there's a time and place for it in someone's life where a hobby like that, if you're already in the industry and you begin to work for a professional brewery, a large scale brewery, home brewing will stick with people. It didn't stick with me. My brother and I built a pretty elaborate electric home brewing system. We have the whole thing documented. It's pretty incredible. We built the control panel in an old ham radio from the 40s, like gutted the thing. It's an old Hammerland HX 150 for any ham radio nerds who might be listening.
Wow, that
Um,
sure beats the hell out of the Mr. Setup I started with.
yeah. Well, we started with our cooler setups. We started on our stoves, like a lot of folks did. Um, but my first job in the beer industry was 1997. I was 16 years old. I worked at Triet Distributing, which is the place we distribute most of our beer to now. I worked in the warehouse seasonally there for 11 years. In '01, I got a job at Consumers Beverage. I worked there for 17 years. And in 2018, I made the leap over to actually working for a brewery instead of working on selling hundreds of breweries. Um, and I started as the art media director, brandish manager. We didn't have a really big team then. We still don't have a big team now. But I was doing some of the first graphic designs for advertising and can labels for Community Beer Works. Um, and I had been friends with those guys since even before their brewery started. That was around 2010. They opened in 2012 officially. Um, and I had been a volunteer with them for a very long time, and I was hired in 2018 full time. Um, Shoot, 8 years passed. A lot of stuff has happened. We acquired Thin Man. We moved out of two locations. We closed tap rooms, just opened a new tap room. It's just been a insane, like, hockey stick of activity for the last 8 years.
Yeah, because I
Actually,
remember when you guys were down on Lafayette Avenue.
yep. Yeah, I was in that space way before anything was in there. I was there the first day they brewed any beer there. I had a very similar homebrew setup as their actual uh, first their gas-fired version was about I think 3 barrels total. I had a half barrel system. They had a 3 barrel system, or maybe I'm sorry, it was a barrel and a half system. So theirs was just slightly bigger than mine, but we were essentially kind of brewing on the same style system. And we just kind of traded back and forth. My brother and I had aspirations of opening a nano brewery. That never got off the ground. We just kept it as a real small home brewing project. But um, I think in the time that I spent with Community Beer Works, there were a lot of community focused events that we did on Lafayette, on 7th Street. We had made a lot of really meaningful moments and a lot of meaningful impact on our local communities that we were dealing with. So we had done private label beer for people before. We had done um, stuff for people like the Pride Center of Western New York. We did stuff for Buffalo String Works. We did small things for realtors, for weddings, for um, geez, just too many to name. Like at Lafayette, we were almost every week putting on some sort of small fundraiser um, for the community, and that's essentially where like Community Beer Works. That's really where that communal aspect kind of ties into bringing that forward into what we're working on today with Riverbank, and we have a lot of experience doing it. Um, and this was one that in the past couple of years, I kind of alluded that there's a lot of stuff that's happened in the last couple of years. So we acquired a much larger brewery than we were, and a lot of the focus on the communal stuff without a tap room, like just kind of did, it vanished. We didn't have a place to bring people in and actually have shared ideas, share a beer, talk about stuff. Um, Shoot ideas back and forth. So a lot of that communal aspect of beer at all just went away for us. We didn't have a tap room. We just opened a tap room again, and this is essentially kind of the kickoff party to bring the community back in a way that we haven't been able to in a long time.
Nice.
Yeah, and just fishing and beer at all, like it's like peanut butter and jelly.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So Riverbank Lager,
Yeah.
after the initial introduction, I mean, what was the evolution of the project? I mean, it's not, not something you turn around in a week.
No, no. I think we went through probably
Did
a
we miss
couple.
the tastings?
No,
There
we
must have
went.
been more than one tasting. So do we? Yeah.
We got ourselves pretty buttoned up on the business idea, the style of beer. We met in person a couple times, extensively went back and forth via email. Um, God, it seems like it happened in an instant, but this really started last fall, like we said. So, we landed on a name. Like, we have to vet names of beer that might already be in the market. So that's kind of the first thing we needed to get out of the way, is like, what does this thing need to be called? And we threw out a bunch of names, kind of sat on them for a couple weeks. Kyle had some real fun ones, some real biology nerd ones. I sorry
Hey,
for using the word
hey,
nerd, but I'm a nerd too. So
Yeah, I embrace
yes.
the nerdiness,
that's
but
a
no, I threw
definitely a
some
term of endearment.
very
Mhm.
we went through dozens of, of names, and then yeah, like Chris mentioned, like it needs to be something everyone can relate to, and
Yeah.
everyone's been on a riverbank, so
Yeah. Yeah, so when we release a beer, it's not just coming up with a name and a recipe. We have to have a slot for it in the market. We have to have it on our calendar. We have to let our distributors know well in advance, hey, this is a beer that we're producing this year. This is how much we're going to make. This is where we're going to sell it. This is how much it's going to cost. This is the effort behind it that we want you guys to do. This is the effort that we're going to do. And it's a lot more than just putting a label on a can, and putting it in the market. Um, so as far as you mentioned testing, we're pretty good at making lagers. I have to say. So we chose a pretty light style. It's a rice lager. Um, and when I say rice, it's more just the fermentable aspect. It's a clean, crisp version of a lager that is it's really approachable. It's accessible. You don't have to think too hard about it. So if you think of another style like this, the biggest rice lager in the world is Sapporo, the Japanese rice lager. Um, there's a bunch of other rice lagers on the market. They're just perfect drinking beers. They're crisp, clean, kind of snappy, but we hopped it with some Southern Hemisphere hops, and gave it an extra dry hop. So it's a little bitter, but it also a little bit more aromatic than a regular lager would be. So we kind of touched it up, polished it that way. But it's a real pretty beer to look at. If you've seen any of the photos of it thus far, it's cool looking. The label's awesome. Like, I really can't
Oh, it's
express
beautiful.
how beautiful the actual artwork came out.
Yeah, he did a great
It's
job.
just it's just nail on the head for like hitting home runs all the way around. Like, it's an incredible tasting beer. It's an incredible looking beer. The branding is just incredible. And all the folks who worked on this, like Kyle, Rob, and myself, are the kind of the three main points of contact. But there's a whole team behind me who are doing literally the brewing, the cellaring, the packaging, all of that hard work that goes into it, the distribution aspect and the sales aspect of this stuff, and literally taking an idea that just formed in an Instagram message, and then you see it next time you go to Wegmans. Like, there's so much that goes into it. And it's just really cool. I've seen it happen, and I think it might be I'm not jaded to it, but I've seen it happen, and it's really like the first time you guys see it in the can, it's like, holy crap, that was just an idea. And now it's actually real.
Nice. I mean, when you're brewing in quantities like that, I mean, how long does it take? I mean, well, how much of a lead time as far as the actual, manufacturing of the beer?
So there's a since this is a lager, they lagers take a lot longer than ales do. They ferment colder and slower. Um, and this one was I think 6 weeks total from brew to finished product. Um, so it just helps the beer kind of fine out and clarify, just develop some of those subtle lager characteristics um, that um, that's in the beer. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
Now this is definitely, when everything's said and done, this is a fundraiser for Trout Unlimited.
Mhm.
Maybe Kyle can come in on this. How does this work? I mean, I know it's Western New York, it's Northeast, it goes
Yes.
it goes so
It's
much further than Buffalo. So how is this going to work as far as
Yeah, so it's kind of a matrix, the way that, TU Northeast, which is the national full-time staff we have for New York State, we work with all of our local regional chapters. So I really wanted the efforts from this beer to go to the Western New York region. So that would encompass like the triangle of Western New York TU, Seth Green TU, and Canandaigua Lake. And Upper Genesee to you, who's just kind of starting up again, and they're really excited about this too. So it really everything from like Rochester west is kind of what I think of when I think of Western New York, and we have so many like great projects that are just about to get off the ground in the region. However, we're so reliant on grant funding, and there's a lot of restrictions, depending on what you apply for some of these funding routes. So to have more of a discretionary fund to begin monitoring in a watershed, that's like really important. We really never had that capacity before. So, uh, these funds can go like directly to a stream restoration project itself, or to the most difficult thing to find funding for is the monitoring component to like learn a new watershed and find out what its deficiencies are, and then we can go in and do projects as chapters. And one thing I really wanted to highlight is like how much communication between chapters now we have in our region. Like I have folks from Canandaigua TU who are really interested in our Western New York TU projects and are wanting to come out and help and learn from those. Same thing with Seth Green in Canandaigua and Seth Green in Western New York. So it's kind of building the whole, chapter-based community. And like mentioned before, like everyone is just volunteering their time and efforts for these projects, and to make sure that we are settled on the right areas and performing the correct science in those areas. That's kind of where this beer will help fund those efforts.
Yeah,
So
I think it might sound cheesy to say, but I mean, Chris, you were talking about, COVID was the time that, you started fly fishing, and it was because it was something that you could do yourself.
Hmm.
COVID was the time that I got involved in TU and went the exact opposite.
Hmm.
It's like,
Yeah.
let's join the group. But yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that, keeps me around, keeps me coming back, is the fact that, yeah, you were talking about, you've got the Western New York chapter and the Seth Green chapter, and you were talking about, the Canandaigua chapter starting to come up again. It sounds cheesy, but it is a family, and
It's a
people,
community.
yeah, it's definitely a community that supports each other. We have things that, initiatives that we do out here, and you'll see people from Seth Green, or they've got something going on, and so that's good to hear, that the funds from this are going to, go to support a lot of what not just Western New York, but, the whole region have going on. That's awesome.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
I'm really excited about building out the region, as a whole, and getting some really great foundational science from some of these findings that we're having recently. And there's also a lot of one part I didn't mention before was the state and national agency like buy into our program as well. So I'm very close with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and Region 9, Region 8, and Region 7 DEC. So like they are fully supportive, and they are beer drinkers too. Sorry,
nice.
Jim, I interrupted you.
Oh no, it's not at all. So now the most important question.
Mhm.
We'll get to the we'll get to the event on the 18th. We'll give that its proper due. But most important question, How much did you make? And where are we going to be able to get it after the party?
We made a 40 barrel batch of it. So in scale, it's north of 150 cases, plus a bunch of draft. Um, so we are distributing it through our Western New York distribution network through Try It Distributing. Remarkable Liquids is going to take a bunch of it. Remarkable Liquids has distribution. So I'll back up. Try It Distributing has our Western New York distribution.
Okay.
Remarkable Liquids has the rest of our state in specific regions. So you can expect to see this in Rochester, hopefully, Syracuse, hopefully, Albany, hopefully. Um, it's we can ask them to target specific places. Um, we are authorized in all of the Wegmans. I'm not sure if this is, I'd have to check with my sales director, honestly, specific places outside of Western New York. But we're sending some draft to select bars who want to pick up on it and feature it. Don't have that list yet. It literally just went out to market last Friday. So it's now sitting on the warehouse floor of our distributor and filtering out into Western New York market this week. You can find it at Wegmans, consumers, bottle shops that sell our beer. Specific bars, I'm gonna have to get back to you, but since this is a kind of special targeted release, we will want to post exactly where you can go find it on draft. It is on draft at our tap room right now, so we tapped a keg over the weekend. Didn't really tell anybody, but it's starting to it's I looked at sales over the weekend and it was our number three draft over the weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So
Yeah.
it's currently as we're speaking. I mean, it's already in stores,
Yeah, I mean
or at least on the
yeah,
floors.
on the floors, yes, when this comes out. Hi folks, when this is past me talking to present you. Um yes, you can go look for it. It should be at Wegmans, consumers, places like that you can go buy beer in Western New York.
Okay. So and then for the end consumer, if they're not going into a tap room, this is a product comes in a can.
Yeah, it comes in 4 pack 16-ounce cans.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Awesome. Kyle, are you going to are you going to Roscoe?
Yes, I will be.
Are you going to
And
bring some with you? I think I'm
hopefully.
going to have to bring some with me. Yeah, the TU Northeast Rendezvous is coming up in Roscoe, New York.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's happening before the release party. So
Yeah.
Yeah, the weekend
So,
prior.
so that I had to pin that date on the calendar, just pencil it in. I'm in Tennessee this coming Easter week, fishing the Smokies. Looking forward to that. Tellico River, Bald River. Never been. Looking forward to it. Um, So I was out that weekend. The following weekend is the Rendezvous, which I how many weeks ago did we talk about that, Kyle? That I was gonna go, uh, and I can't swing it. Um, and then because all you guys are gonna be down there, so you wouldn't be able to have any presence here in Buffalo. And I was like, okay, the weekend after that, we're having the fundraiser at the tap room then.
yep.
So.
Well,
Week
I'm going to
week
have to
to
go to
the
Wegmans and pick up a couple of 4 packs and take them
Yeah.
to Roscoe with me. So
Okay.
got to have it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I should be giving, I think, a few different talks down in Roscoe. I might only be able to be there for the second part of the event, like the last 2 days.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'd love to bring some beers and definitely taste one. I'm
Nice.
really excited to actually just crack a can.
Cool. I'm
I
gonna have to
know.
hit Wegmans on Wegmans tomorrow.
Yeah,
Gotta have it.
for any folks who in other breweries downstate in New York, I know West Kill does stuff in support of TU. I think Common Roots does fly tying nights, and Common
Yeah.
Roots, we're friends with the Common Roots guys. We've actually done collab beers with Common Roots before. So I mean, there is a contingent of folks who are also contributing to this community we're talking about that are also doing stuff to help out. And I just kind of wanted to shout out that the beer community at all is incredibly supportive of not just fly fishing communities, but cycling communities and rock climbing communities and people who generally like to live outdoors as much as they can. And like this is a unique project for us at CBW and Thin Man. We have done I was saying earlier, we have done a lot of private label stuff, fundraising efforts for literally hundreds of nonprofits. But when it comes to like something that is like so personal to me, like I asked for just one thing this year, and this is it. And I think this is really kind of one of the coolest things that, speaking for the brewery, and for myself, I think this is one of the coolest projects and most well-rounded, well-supported projects that we've gotten to do in a long time.
Excellent. We think so too. So what's going on in the 18th?
Oh, well, lots of beer drinking. We want people to come down and not only have pints of beer, but take 4 packs home with you. A lot of really good partners are going to be there. We have support from Harry Trout Tackle Shop. We have support from Fish USA, from Cat County Outfitters, from 716 Nick. We have Rick Kustich books. We have probably some gift cards from us. We have a bunch of really cool stuff that we're essentially having a big raffle party for all the proceeds from there are going to TU. Some really cool gifts. Rob's going to bring a bunch of swag and stuff from LRS to
Nice.
raffle. He's got some really cool stuff.
I'm sure we can rustle up some Western New York chapter gear.
Yeah,
Definitely
yeah.
sure. If it
It's just
hasn't already been
it's a
committed to.
big party for TU, and the communal aspect is really kind of um, it feels warm and fuzzy right now, and I kind of can't wait for it. And there's a lot of folks that I simply don't know that um I want to meet. I want to say hi. I want to like say thank you for continuing and doing stuff that I kind of entered here recently. But there are people who have been doing this stuff for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And that is it's essentially like a thank you to those people that we get to do what we're doing right now. And I get to go and fish in world-class places because of the efforts of a lot of folks who have come before us. And um, I think we're doing our part right now. And I like in our own personal power and power professionally to kind of blow that up as much as we can is really um, it's a cool thing. And I like to sit back and fish and kind of be quiet, but this one feels extra special. Like I
Nice.
just want to make people aware of what's going on, really.
Right. So Saturday, April 18th at the Thin Man Brewery, the Chandler Street Brewery. It's
Mhm.
166 Chandler Street. That
Correct.
would be in the Black Rock Riverside area of town.
Yep.
You said it's a new facility, so
Yep.
another extra special reason to come down. Starting at about 3 o'clock. Beer and fun and fellowship and fish stories and free stuff. So what more could you ask for?
I don't know. Trout pond.
Yeah, trout pond. Yeah.
Well, hopefully the weather's not that good that day, so no one's fishing, right? No.
Yeah. No,
It is
actually,
April.
and starts at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and goes until when it goes. So I know because we've got a Stream Explorer outing for the kids down at 18 Mile Creek that morning. So I'm sure by the time 3 o'clock comes around, I'll probably need a beer or two. So it'll be good.
Yeah,
it will be good.
We've got plenty of stuff for people who don't drink beer. Also, just come down. We've got a full menu. Our pizzas are amazing. Our kitchen does a bang up job. We're a scratch kitchen, so everything is made in house.
Okay, so this is an all ages event.
All ages.
People can bring their kids down, and we're gonna have fun, but we're not gonna go overboard. And this is definitely a family friendly event. Absolutely. Nice. All right. So big thanks to Chris Groves and Kyle Glenn from TU. Chris Groves from Thin Man Brewery. Saturday, April 18th, coming up here real soon. We're going to see you all in person for the debut of Riverbank Lager. And if you can't wait, you can go to Wegmans or your favorite beer purchasing location and try to find it now. And still come on the 18th and drink it with us, though. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you for having us on.
See you.
Thanks for listening to Trout Pod, the official podcast of Western New York Trout Unlimited. You can find us on all the major podcast apps, including Apple, Amazon, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, and all the rest. Keep in the know on all things WNYTU by visiting our website at WNYTroutUnlimited.org and signing up for the email list, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and following us on Facebook and Instagram. Contact the podcast directly at podcast@WNYTroutUnlimited.org. Talk to you again real soon. Thanks for listening.